Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad. Love, Ruth, John, Mark, Pamela, Patricia, and Peter. 1963, Part 140. This video is based on the original publication, Small Shaw Family Memories Collection, or SFMC number 59, published on January 19, 2001. Letter from the editor of the SFMC, yours truly, Peter J. Ray. Highlights from this issue. John tried a $450,000 plus law case in federal court this week and settled it for $500 mid-trial. He was defending. His client said John was better than television. All his objections were sustained. We hope to get Mark a ping-pong table. Later, alligators. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, October 10th, 1963. Dear Mother and Dad, I was very glad to get your letter, for we've been wondering how you are getting along. I'm afraid I've been so negligent in writing, but there always seems so much that needs doing here. John says it sounds as though you came home from the hospital too soon. We are so sorry that you aren't well and do hope that you don't do too much. It takes so much longer to recover if you go too soon. We have had the most gorgeous fall weather that I can ever remember. Sun, 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 and the glorious colors in the leaves. We spent Sunday down in the park by the Rocky River amidst the falling leaves. So many times I've thought how you might enjoy being here, but then I remember what a hurry you were to get home last year and how you probably couldn't stand all our activity. Peter hasn't been napping at all. Yesterday he said, "Mother, when Daddy comes home, then we have supper, then I go to bed. That's the way it works, you know." Pamela was named the first girl of the week at school. She spent 5 hours at home and made a lovely spice chart, including samples in little cellophane bags. She's in the top half of the 3 classes. Her teacher says her IQ is well above average. Mark's teacher says it's so good to have such a fine student. His work is almost perfect. He is very conscientious in his practicing of his violin every day, twice a day, and takes French every day. I'm taking Peter out of nursery school. He would rather stay home and play with Patty. He can go next year. I went to the tea for Patty's class today and have the one for Pamela's class here next Wednesday. Expect over 50. I had a coffee for some of the neighbors and 2 10 o'clock a.m. meetings here. The porch is so lovely this time of year. We always think of Bud. I must write to him. He was so dear to keep me informed about you. I also appreciated Dad's letter, and I'm very glad he quit smoking. I took Pamela to Higbee's Friday night and ordered a hand-smocked Polly Flinders dress. And while we were there, they had a drawing, and Pamela won another free one. She could have taken the most expensive one, but didn't. They are being made for her. We were thrilled. Anne and I went to an art show downtown. Anne bought a lovely Georgie pottery bowl, and I bought another Marion Bryson painting for the kitchen, a luscious pineapple. I'm so sorry that you feel depressed. I would love to have you visit us when you feel up to it. March seems such a short time away to me. There seems so much to be done by then. Ironing, mending, picture to be framed, hair washed and cut ×6, Christmas cards and presents. I'm still making the curtains for Mark's room. We're to have the family party here Christmas Eve. I would like to have a tea for Mrs. White's, who is now back from Ireland. John White's brings me the most luscious quarts of strawberries. I do so enjoy them. I have washed all the windows in and out, but they need it again before the tea. Also have to do my big mirror and the chandelier, the woodwork too. Sunday, John is in charge of a reception at church for the director of the Social Welfare Department of the Cleveland Area Church Federation. I'm to poor. John tried a $450,000 plus law case in federal court this week and settled it for $500 mid-trial. He was defending. His client said John was better than television. All his objections were sustained. I'll always remember that what Ann Duff told me when I was so depressed and hope that it helps you. She said, "You will get over it. You will feel better, and the sun will shine again." I found that I had to turn my mind off every time I started thinking about myself and try to turn it to something else, which is hard to do when it's physical difficulties as you have. This weather has been so gorgeous that the world has never looked more beautiful to me. I'm seriously thinking of packing the summer things in the suitcases for Florida. Tonight Pamela said, "Oh, it's wonderful. I wouldn't want to be anyone else. I just like everything the way it is." Good night. God bless. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, October 14th, 1963. Dearest Mother, I had these socks for Janet, planning to send them for her birthday, but missed. I know how you like to have free gifts for them, so thought that maybe when you gave Joan or Brian their birthday gifts that you might like to have something of when you visit, since their birthdays are almost over. I think these party or Sunday socks are so sweet, and our girls have enjoyed their pink ones so much. I'm so glad that you had your hair done in a cleaning gal inn. I will try to send you a little. I have been busy, a reception at church yesterday, and bought the couple back here, new social welfare director of the Cleveland Area Church Federation. She's from India and seemed to enjoy my colors so much. Today I cleaned and shined my chandelier and big mirror and some of the woodwork. Had the boys across the street for lunch and Beth's little girl from 2 to 5 o'clock. I cleaned the third floor and Peter's room. Tomorrow I hope to do all the windows in and out and finish the downstairs, etc. Dee's tea today went well, a gorgeous day. Ann's third grade is tomorrow, and I have fourth grade Wednesday. I went to Patty's last week and Mark's Thursday, and hope to have one for Mrs. White's Friday. Tonight we went with the Whiteses to the Aquamarine for a nature center dinner. Very nice. I certainly hope you start feeling better. Mrs. Gillette said the blues are normal. Maybe if March seems so far away for a vacation, Daddy could take his holidays in December or January, and you could go to Florida or someplace warm then. It would do you both more good then, and there's no need to wait until summer. I doubt if we'll ever go away in the summer again, for that's when the weather is good at home. Mrs. Vogler brought a lovely cherry pie tonight. God bless. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, October 27th, 1963. Dearest Mother, I wish that I could have pressed a button every once in a while the last few weeks and had you here for a visit. Our weather has been simply gorgeous, for us at least. It's been tragic for the fruit growers and nurserymen and so dry that we've had many fires, but I've certainly enjoyed all the lovely warm days and have made especially good use of our porch this fall. A year ago on your birthday we had our freak 6 inches of snow, and this year it was 82 degrees. The tea for our classrooms went off just fine. It was a lovely day, so we used the porch. We had about 45 ladies here, and I had many compliments about the house. One girl said she couldn't believe it was the same house. She'd been here to a meeting last winter and said it was pretty then, but lovely now. One girl told me it was the nicest tea she'd been to. I also had a tea a few days later for some of the neighbors. Mrs. White's senior, just back from Portugal, and Beth Shelley's mother down from Canada, and 3 months in England, and a few others. Then I had a dinner party for Beth's parents and the Shelleys and the Whiteses. Dr. McCree is a retired Presbyterian minister. Then I had another dessert for a few more friends, and one came the next day by mistake, so I had Ann over also. Ann had brought me gorgeous mums, and John had some also. Also the children's 4 sizes of pumpkins on the front steps, and my Indian corn tied with gold velvet ribbon on the front door. The dogwood leaves are brilliant red, so very colorful here in the fall, with my orange striped tablecloth. Of course, I went to the teas for Patty's and Mark's grades, and also went to a very lovely luncheon for 20 with Ann last week. A home on the lake with a view of the lake from every room. We also went to a pancake supper last week, and John took the children to a campout. Saturday was homecoming football game at Oberlin. John also took Mark and Pamela to a Cleveland Browns game Sunday. We had Joan over with Michael and Tracy down to the park, and last Saturday they had Peter for lunch, and to the Dumbo movie, and to a play, and for supper. Tomorrow night is our supper at church, and Tuesday John is on the radio and Halloween. Patty and Pam are both going costumes to lunch. Patty to a little friends from kindergarten, and of course Saturday is her birthday party. I was so glad to get your letter and hear that you are feeling somewhat better. I'll be anxious to hear how your visit to the doctor came. I feel that I've done so little for you, and that Bud does so much more for you than I do. Do not worry about getting anything for the children's birthdays. They have so much. We got Mark his football uniform, and yesterday I bought Patty a bride doll dress for her Barbie doll. We also got her party supplies. It will be fun. Ann is having a luncheon soon, and I'm going to a luncheon in Shaker Heights. And we're having the Duffs up, and I'm planning another dinner and bridge party. Billy Burt, one of my old pupils, came over Friday, and so I've promised to have a party for my old class soon. He's in 12th grade at Lakewood High School. One of my pupils graduated from Laurel and going to Colby Junior College. I certainly do wish that you could have been here to enjoy our nice weather and porch and go down to the park with us. We hope that you will come to visit us whenever you feel like it, right now if you can. We would love to see you. The other day, Mrs. McRae, Beth's mother, had Peter down at the park. Pamela brought him home and said, Peter said, "I wish I had a grandma that lived next door." I asked him which grandma, and he said, "Both of them." He really fell in love with Great-Grandma Zook. When we took Helen and Mary Jane to the airport, he put his head on Grandma Zook's shoulder and fell asleep. She enjoyed that too. He's such a dear. Every time we visit Mrs. Diamond, we try to take a few flowers. I took a plate of cookies, but her housekeeper shook her head. She's very weak and says very little. It's a very sad situation. They got her up in a wheelchair, but her head is bowed. I feel guilty for not going more often. The children carved their jack-o'-lanterns today and did good jobs on them. Mark's is the largest and Peter's the smallest. They make an interesting array. Soon it will be Thanksgiving. I think Peter would have gone to nursery school if I'd insisted, but I've never been very much in favor of it. I only sent Patty because she had no playmates, and now if I had to do it again, I'd have waited until she was 4. It bothered me at the time, but I felt it was for the best. However, now I feel that it's too young to take them out early in the morning all winter. They both like to watch the TV show Captain Kangaroo and have breakfast after Mark and Pamela have gone to school and play together in their pajamas, and we have a leisurely time. Too soon, Patty will be in 1st grade and have to go by 9. Then I might put Peter in nursery school unless I selfishly want to keep him for my own companion. He's so interesting and so much fun. They are so soon gone. The children had their photos taken at school, and all 3 were in the middle of the back row in their class, tallest in the class. The manager at the grocery store told me that what well-behaved children they are, and he said, "I know, we see a lot of them in here." I feel so lucky. The Duffs are expecting their 8th child. I hope the sweater fits and goes with your blue skirt. Be nice with pearls. Love, Ruth. P.S. Dearest Mother, we do hope that you're feeling better and have a happy birthday. This is for the hair, do, or cleaning gal, or whatever. Your birthday present is in the mail. I had planned to send it airmail, but Pamela had something too, which made it a little heavy, but it will be along. Hope that they are all right. We've been very busy. I will write more tomorrow. Happy, happy day, dear, and God bless. Wish we could press a button and you visit us. Hope you will whenever you feel up to it. Love, John, Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, November 20th, 1963. Dear Mother, the other day I thought I must read that big fat letter from Mother, and then I realized that it had been only in a dream that such a letter had arrived. We do hope that everything is all right with you. However, you should not be too busy. I also hope that you are not too depressed. We have been very busy as usual. Patty was so thrilled with her sewing set that she was up at 7:30 a.m. sewing when I awoke. She presented me with a sachet that she had made all trimmed with lace. She said that Pamela was chagrined, for she taught Patty how to thread a needle and sew, and then Patty could sew better than she. Mark was thrilled with his money. He now has $271 in the bank, mostly from Aunt Helen. They both had nice birthday parties, lots of little girls and big boys. We also had a little party at Sunday school for Patty. I teach kindergarten, and also made and decorated cookies for her class at school and sent balloons. We also iced cookies and made orange jack-o'-lantern faces on them for Mark's class at school. His teacher had a brain tumor removed, but it was malignant and they could not get it all. She will not be back. We had the Duffs up, expecting their 8th child and the McQuilkins over. I went to a luncheon at Ann's and one in Shaker Heights for the World Federalists, and John was interviewed by Dorothy Fulltime, the television news analyst at the skating club. I may have mentioned that we visited a Negro home in a cultural exchange. Our minister asked us to go, and we are having some Negroes here in exchange on February 9th. Last Saturday evening, we had my last class of school pupils here for a party. They all came, but one who is down in Columbus. They are 18 and 19 now, and just wonderful. Susie came up from Middlefield, Ohio. They are all in various public high schools, all in grade 12, but Rick is in grade 11 at Shaker High School. They seemed to have a good time. I hope they did. John and I enjoyed it. I had some games for them in the basement, and Rick said it was just like when they were small and I was teacher again. Jimmy even kissed me goodnight. After 11 years, it was wonderful of them all to come so far. Some of them helped me fry donuts, and they all said the food was good, and I had so many good ideas. John said he thought Rick could hear because he talked so well. Tomorrow we're taking our children to the circus. Tonight, John took them to the underwater movies at the Nature Center, and Friday night is the campout. Patty's been to several birthday parties, too. We're going to Sandusky for Thanksgiving next week. John has sent a check to Florida to reserve the house on the Gulf for us next March. He asked the principal how many days we could take the children out of school. She said we could take them out of 7 school days, and they have a week off before Easter, so we hope to fly down March 11th. Easter is March 29th, and we come back for that. We'd like you to plan to go down with us if you could. Maybe Dad could take his vacation then, and you could both fly down. It would do you both good. We have 4 bedrooms in that house, 2 on one side with a bathroom, and 2 on the other with a bathroom, so there are 8 twin beds. We are looking forward to it. The beach is right outside the door and the fishing pier down the beach. John is going to talk to his investment club about buying a house along there. He's in court this week. It is so nice here in the summer that we like it here, but about March we enjoy getting where it's warmer. So far, no snow here, and it was in the 50s today. I planted some bulbs Sunday. Our forsythia is in bloom. We're getting the storm windows up, though. I don't have a cleaning woman. John gives me the money for one, but I bought a new gold suede front suite. Do hope you are all right. Love, John and Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, December 5th, 1963. Dear Mother and Dad, it was very nice to get your letter today, and Dad's to Patty and Bud's too. I was going to write you last week when I came home Friday night from church after President John F. Kennedy's death, but became involved with a 3-day siege at the television set. I just wept when John called me from the office about it. At first I thought it may have been a heart attack when he told me. What a tragedy. We both wept throughout the funeral. It seemed so unnatural. He had so much and so much to give. I do hope that something good will come. I felt so bad about John Oswald's death too, or Lee Harvey Oswald's death too. John saw it on television. I was at church with the older children and couldn't believe that either. Their security in all instances was unforgivable. John still blames the Secret Service for not doing their job. He felt they should have been watching the windows, the only building in the area. Our minister called a service for that night. The congregation was phoned. The atmosphere was heavy and my chest still aches when I think of it. We think Mrs. Jackie Kennedy was remarkable. John says he feels there are so many awful things happening now in the world that it makes him feel strange. Maybe God is trying to shock us into an awareness of something. Please don't go out shopping for us. Save your strength for your own Christmas. Why don't you just buy a cake and cookies? It isn't worth it to feel so tired. I'm glad you made some things, but if you must shop, do it by phone. I have all mine done for you and John's mother. There's so many nice things I'd like to send, but which would be best? It's so much fun. I do so enjoy it all. Our family is at the very best now. Bud said when he was here that he thought it would be nice for you both to visit us for Christmas. Mark has been so faithful to his violin practice. Every noon he goes to his 3rd floor and every day after school. He took it to Sandusky for Thanksgiving and plans to play at Christmas. He will play, Pamela sing, and Patty dance to some tune. They have it all planned, and Peter says, "Me too, me too." I enjoy hearing Mark practice. This has been all his own idea. The children are so wonderful. John is very pleased that you think you might be able to fly down to Indian Rocks Beach in Florida in March. I'm sorry that Dad doesn't think he could stand us. Of course we go down there because we think there is no tension, and the children know we wouldn't take them if there were. We think they're so well behaved and have had so many people tell us they are. Last year they had their own bedroom wing, and each morning they put on their bathing suits and went on the beach shelling, then came back and set breakfast and started it. Then we would get up. The real estate woman liked them so much she offered to babysit, but we didn't want to do any nightlife, although a couple invited us out. We preferred to enjoy the sound of the waves and the moonlight on the water, warm and restful. We have the same house. Yes, we are looking for one for sale on the Gulf of Mexico this year. Joan's dad's place is for sale, but it is on Lake Alfred, inland. John would like to lengthen his vacation a little each year until he spends 6 months in the South or traveling. After the Christmas season, it will be just 2 months, and it will be time to go, so it does shorten the winter. Mark's teacher died during President Kennedy's funeral, so we went to her funeral the day before Thanksgiving. It was Patty's 4th funeral this year. Joan's mother, Mr. Vogler, and Aunt Mary. Mrs. Diamond spoke her first word in days when we took her some flowers on Thanksgiving. One of the lawyers who was in John's office working for them, they were here last winter, his son, 10 years old, was found hanged. Mark asked his Grandma Ray for a larger stamp album. He might like a chess set. He loves chess, or a ring toss set, or a ping pong set for the table he hopes we'll buy him, or some scenery items for his train set. Peter would like Tinker toys or any puzzles with large pieces, or any plaything to build. Patty loves anything and everything, sewing things, maybe a spool, knitting set, or jewelry, or anything to do. She's been so busy on her weaving. Wouldn't even go to the movies with Mark and Pamela and has each thing perfect. She's made all her own gifts and has worked first thing in the morning until night and has wrapped them all beautifully, even tied her own bows. Pamela teaches her how to do these things, but then Patty does them more carefully. Today, Pamela became a Girl Scout. I'm chairman of her troop, so I was over at the chalet on the lake to watch the investiture. She looks so nice in her green uniform, number 12. She's as tall as the 5th graders. There are only 2 4th graders. She was put ahead with the older grade. They recited all the Girl Scout laws and sang the song. Yesterday I went to a nature center women's board meeting at my neighbor's. Then Ann and I went to a nursery school tea at the Commodore Club. One of my neighbors owns it. Then I had Mary and Bryson paint our children's portraits. Then we went to the children family night at the Nature Center. We did have a lovely Thanksgiving in Sandusky. The whole family was there. Of course, the John F. Kennedy tragedy overshadowed everything that week. John's mother had a lovely turkey dinner, but she looked tired. She's done a lot to the house, made a bedroom into a sitting room. Mr. Diamond phoned to say I deserved a medal. All the children looked so nice, perfect, he said. They all went over. John brought home a big box of coins and stamps, all very valuable. He's thinking of cashing them in, selling them. Carol wore the white Irish tweed sweater I brought her from Ireland and gold sweater. I wore my new gold suit, suede front. Joan has kept her weight down. She started working 1 day a week, using Mrs. Vogler's sitter to babysit. She's a nurse. Mrs. Vogler called to say she was going to Chicago, driving, to visit Santa Claus. And what did Peter want? He said he wanted a tiger. We took the children to the circus, and he took his hammer along to take care of any loose tigers. We all enjoyed the circus. Ringling's 3 rings, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, 3-ring circus. So much, then out to dinner. After I took communion last week, I had another teacher take my class. One of the little boys met me and said, "Where were you?" Mrs. Vogler couldn't be here, so I had a new babysitter, and she just raved about the house when she arrived, and as she was leaving, she said, "I could live in this house, I certainly could." I'm enjoying it so much more, too. One day Pamela said, "I feel just right. Everything's perfect. School, teacher, home, father and mother." And Patty, too, once said, "I feel just right about everything." And that's the way I feel, too. We just have so much to be thankful for and just wonder how we can be so fortunate. John says he's felt that way for many years and happy that I finally come around to that way of thinking, too. We had some snow the other day, and it was so lovely to see Patty and Peter reveling in it. The children had a lovely time with their cousins in Sandusky. Looking forward to Bud's family coming too. Why not Joan? Hope they do not drive too much. We're having Christmas Eve here. Good night. God bless. Take care. Love, John, Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, December 17th, 1963. Dear Mother and Dad, we were so glad to get your letter, and it sounded as if you were feeling better. I have had that emotional up and down bit all my life, it seems, so I have great sympathy. I remember once telling Dr. Ruth Bender that I used to tell myself when in a down mood, I know I will be happy again. I've been happy before. I will come out of it. Life will be bright again. But it's so hard to realize it at the time. I remember a few years ago thinking that I'd only had so much excitement in my life and so many good things that it only had to go downward. What grim prospects. But I can honestly say that this past fall, with nothing spectacular and only quiet enjoyment, has been the happiest time of all. I remember finding lunchtime so busy that I would have preferred the children to have lunch at school, and now that I realize next year will be Mark's last year to come home, I'm so glad he still is. It's so nice to hear him practicing his violin so faithfully, too. Tomorrow is the school band concert, and he is to play. We have our Christmas tree up and lit, and our little white candy cane tree decorated with candy canes, and our manger scene up, and the blue lights up outdoors, and the gold wreath on the front door with the spotlight on it. John found it so cold this year putting up the lights outdoors, and I found it so cold washing the outside of the windows. Today I finally made a Christmas cake, chocolate creams and cookies. Peter is so cute. He keeps lighting the tree and manger scene and says, "Isn't it beautiful, Mom? Isn't it just beautiful?" Your parcel arrived in fine shape in 6 days. Don't think it had even been opened. Also, the record arrived in 7, also okay, no duty, just left the parcel, handed it to them at the door. Do hope ours to you were as lucky. We mailed it them at the same time you did. I wrapped the inside and John's secretary wrapped the outside. Pamela said, "How many presents do you send your mother anyway? It's a good thing it's mailed or you'd still be putting in things." Patty said, "I wish the parcel wouldn't come so early. It's too tempting." We took them to the Big Brother Christmas party Friday night and saw Santa Claus. Peter was shy this year. Shar had such a lovely party. I wore my long white skirt and top and had my hair up high and had many compliments. Shar had it all in candlelight, buffet dinner for 10 and had blue-green designed tablecloths to match her long skirt and green velvet top. A lovely dinner party. Dee across the street had a lovely luncheon for about 10, filet mignons, I think they were. Anne is having us to a brunch for John's brother and wife. We went to the party for shut-ins last night, drove down a fellow in a wheelchair, several hundred crippled or handicapped folks. We helped serve them also. We are having the family Christmas party, supper, and Santa Claus here Christmas Eve, and then to Sandusky, Ohio for Christmas Day. I'm glad to hear Bud won the $100. That will add a little extra to their Christmas. John won $99 last week playing poker about the same time, and $56 the week before. He says he's won about $200 since Thanksgiving, but lost $34 last night. We hope to get Mark a ping pong table for the basement. He also wants a pool table for the 3rd floor next. Sunday, we had the new social service director of the Cleveland Area Church Federation and his wife from India and their niece for dinner after church. They seemed to appreciate it. I'm so surprised and sorry to hear about Mr. Martin and Harry Steele. Such a shock for them and a sad Christmas. It's good that they have their grandchildren now. Send me Mrs. Martin's address and I'll send her a card or note. It's been down to 8 degrees and only 17 degrees today, so cold for us. Heard it was minus 30 degrees in North Dakota, so expect it will be cold in Saskatchewan too. I certainly hope you don't get too tired and despondent from Christmas preparations. I hope I can take that advice too. Lots of cleaning to do and cooking and Christmas cards. Hope you all have a lovely Christmas. The children are all so excited, have been working on their gifts so long, and daily open the Advent calendar and take off a chain link and light an Advent candle each Sunday. A happy, happy time. Love, John and Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio. December 30th, 1963. Dear Mother and Dad, we had a very lovely Christmas and thank you for all the nice things. They arrived quickly, hadn't been opened, and no duty. I do hope that yours and Bud's had no duty. Do let me know. The candles from Bud and Doris were late and smashed, but all else were fine. We had a lovely Christmas Eve party, I thought. John's folks and Dick's family came about 4:30, and we had a candlelight supper. Santa Claus came. Mr. Diamond, I thought it would do him good, and he was more excited than the children. He was very good, and John took movies. I wore my long white dress. John and I went to a lovely Christmas Eve communion at church. Christmas Day, we took a poinsettia plant to Mrs. Diamond, and we also visited her yesterday, but she is very bad. Barely moves now and is probably doped. We had a very nice Christmas Day and turkey dinner at Sandusky. Joan and Mrs. Ray said what nice notes you'd written. John's mother just phoned that John's dad had a siege of blindness in one eye the next day. They drove to an eye specialist in Columbus. He stayed in the hospital and Mrs. Ray took the bus home 7 hours. He will be all right and drives home tomorrow. We've had a very nice time since Christmas also. Took the children to see the big tree and to the movies Incredible Journey and Flipper. This past weekend we went to parties in Brecksville, University Heights, and a dance at the Executive Club. Also wore my long white dress. It's wool, so warm. Ann White's had a lovely brunch Sunday after church. We're having a dinner party here. I'm so sorry that we're late on your wedding anniversary. Dave's birthday and Kathy's also come after Christmas and catch me. Shara and Don have strep throats, so I sent over some supper for them. Mark went bowling and had supper across the street. I'm sure you had a lovely Christmas with your family. How nice it is that you have Bud and his family nearby. Hope you didn't get too tired. The cushions are fine. John's mother admired the gold ones so. Good night. Love, John and Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. Now we have 2 comments based on the original publication. And the first comment is from Tessa Delina, the former secretary of Restless Educational Center. Dear editor, I just finished reading issues 58 and 59. I know this has been long delayed, but anyway, better late than never. Both issues showcased the wonderful years of you and other siblings, particularly the growing up years. It was quite amazing to see all of you into different hobbies, ballet, swimming, writing, not to mention Ruth beaming with pride on how her sons and daughters were growing up. It can be seen in statements like, I feel so lucky to have such lovely daughters and fine sons. It's a job getting them all ready for school. So many things that they need, but so rewarding to see them going off looking so nice. The following were some insights gathered from some of the letters, and I quote, I do hope that you have a good doctor, not just one that likes to operate. I'm sure he is good. I feel that I ought to be able to do something. What would be best? I read an article in the March Good Housekeeping that many operations are not necessary and that you should have another gynecologist examine you, just to be sure. This applies to me. Again, the following lines are so beautiful. Right now we're having a glorious fall, beautiful weather and the dogwood leaves turning red. Our weather is just so gorgeous. We're just relishing every moment. I got up at 6 o'clock a.m. today and went out and picked roses. They're so lovely now in a variety of shades, yellow, white, pink, and red. The weather has been so gorgeous that the world has never looked more beautiful to me. And finally, one very inspiring message to all of us who are in the midst of problems. You will get over it, you will feel better, and the sun will shine again. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful issues. Tessa J. Delina, Quezon City, Philippines. And we have one final comment from my father, John S. Dear Editor, SFMC number 59 brings back the wonderful trips our family had when we started going to Florida in the cold weather many years ago. What wonderful memories. I cannot recall the $450,000 case which I defended in federal court and settled during trial for $500. What a good friend Ann Duff was and is for Red. You will feel better and the sun will shine again. When Peter went to the circus when he was 3 years old, he took his hammer along to take care of any loose tikers. What a character! Delighted that Red is happy. So many lovely gatherings with our friends, Ann and John Whites. I enjoyed Mark's letter of April 16, 1963, about fishing in Indian Rocks Beach. A shark and stingray were caught from the dock. We had some wonderful times fishing from that dock. Thank you. Sincerely, Dad. John S. Ray, Cleveland, Ohio. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.